here's your host, Richie Michella. On today's show, legendary angler, Guy Eaker. Well, it's great to be back in the Real Deal Studios with another fishing legend calling in shortly. We're going to have Guy Eaker on, Hall of Fame angler. This man has done it all in the bass fishing world. Guy Eaker has taught several generations what it means to be a professional bass angler. With style, grace, and class, he has fished at the highest levels of the sport for nearly 40 years. Now let's go to the phones and talk to the man, the legend himself. Here he is, Mr. Guy Eaker. Okay, Mr. Eaker.
Yes, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's a pleasure to have you on. You're a hero of mine in the sport.
Well, I appreciate that. Good Lord been good to me and let me do something I love to do for 37 years and make a living doing it. You can't ask for much more.
Right.
A lot of times I say I'm not no Rick Clun or maybe no Kevin Van Dam, but I bet they ain't had them as much fun as I have over the 37 years.
Right. Well, I guess we'll start on how it all started. How did you get started in bass fishing?
Well, my dad was a big fisherman here in North Carolina, and we fished every weekend a different lake, and it just sort of gets into your blood. And I formed a club to the Bassmasters early 70s, and competed in that up to about 70. Won a lot of tournaments, and I won the North Carolina State Champion in 1975.
Right.
That gave me the right to go to the World's Champion, and I went to Kissimmee, top 400 fishermen in the world. I went down there and won a brand new rig boat, my first tournament, and I had big fish with it, 914.
Wow.
That gave me the opportunity to think about it. I believe I could compete. So, I started fishing American bass to start off with, and first year I missed the point champion by 3 points. I missed one tournament when I was a supervisor at Carolina Freight Trucking Company.
Okay.
And I couldn't get off that much. So then the next year, I fished all the tournaments at 77, and I won the Angler of the Year, and I beat Dave Levy in a national tournament at Seminole by 3 ounces, and that really gave me a start. It gave me a lot of confidence. I fished American bass for like almost 5 years, and finished second Angler of the Year again, third, and then went to Cuba and fished in the international tournament, which we won. And I said, well, I had a few sponsors and everything. They was behind me, and I was with Earl Vince. He's owned a couple boat companies. I've been with Earl for 37 years in the boat business, and he's taking care of me. And
wow.
And he kept wanting me to fish bass.
Right.
And finally in 79, I switched over to bass. Mercury wanted me to leave because they felt like I'd get more publicity in bass. And I did leave and made the Classic my first year, 1980, and I've been doing it ever since.
Wow. Now, I also read somewhere that Roland Martin had a big part to play in your life.
Yeah, well, what it was in the 60s, Roland was stationed at Fort Jackson down near Santee Cooper, South Carolina. And I was going down there on the weekends and whenever I could to fish at Santee. And he said, man, you need to guide as many fish as you catch down here. He said, won't you let them book you? And then when your day's off, you come down here and guide. So I did that from 60 to 70 off and on, backwards and forwards. And me and Roland become real good friends. And then he said, man, as good as you fish, Guy, you need to fish the tournament trail out the world. Roland, I got a family and 2 kids, and did a good job in Carolina Freight. And he said, well, I understand that. Then opportunity come up, Mercury and Earl all of them wanted me to go full time. And I didn't want to leave Carolina Freight because of my insurance. So Mercury come back and said, we're going to take you and your family on. We're going to be your insurance and everything. So I talked to Carolina Freight and told them I was wanted to leave, and they said they would sign the paper for me.
Very nice. I also wanted to ask you, you actually went against these guys. These guys you fished against, Ingram, Houston, Dance, and Clun. What actually was that like to fish against these guys?
Well, again, I become good friends with all of them, and it's just an opportunity for me, to do something I wanted to do that's hard fishing, for a living. And I tell you what, a lot of us, we give it's like I run with Charlie Ingham, we trade secrets and everything, and I deal with Roland, and a lot of times Roland might be in a, predicament where he wouldn't catch them, and I'd tell him something, but he would never come in, very honestly, and he just couldn't find something just like it.
Right.
So it's been a fun deal. It really has, and all the guys, great guys. I can't really say much bad about anybody, to tell you the truth.
Oh, wow. Now, I'm just starting out, and I really want to go after my dream of being a pro bass fisherman. Can you give me any advice on now starting this dream?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what I did. Anytime I did good in a tournament, I don't care if it was a top 10 finish, it was in the paper or a magazine, I always flipped it out, rubbed me a bunch of copies of it off. I kept sending it to different sponsors, and, when I first started, I started getting Blue Children. Blues gave me my first sponsorship, and Jim Bagley. Okay. And they helped me out, and I just kept sending stuff to these sponsors, and then I started doing good, and it was mostly product when I started, a free boat, a free engine, and then later on when I started doing better, and I started doing a lot of seminars, you got to be able to speak to people, and you can't be bashful.
Right.
I don't never meet I feel like everybody's a friend of mine, and I don't care who he is, I'll talk to him and try to help him out. But that's what it's all about. You got to be a spokesman. When I started, it's about like 60-40, 60 fishing and 40 promoting. Now it's 70-30. 70 promoting and 30 fishing, because you got to be a promoter and a salesman, or they don't want you.
Right. No, definitely. Now we all have really tough days out on the water, and what can you tell us about those?
Well, a lot of times, you get out there and, the weather changes, or it drops the water, and there's so many things can happen to make the fish change. And we usually get 3 days of practice. Many times I feel like I can win the tournament, and there's something that seems like always happens. A big rain, I'm in a creek, it gets muddy, then I got to change everything I've done. But I tell you what I found out, and we got a little deal, what we call the 8-ounce head, the little little, like a handful to worm my fish off. When I get in trouble, that's my go-to bait. If I can't catch fish the way I want to catch them, I take out a little finesse worm, a little jig head, and then at least let me catch a limit. They don't always work, but that's one of my go-tos. And over the past 4 or 5 years, I've never been really a deep water fisherman, more of a shallow water fisherman, but I've learned to use a drop shot. And it gets tough a lot of times. You get after these drops, off these forms, and that little drop shot will catch them.
Yeah, because that's one of your strengths. You're a great shallow water fisherman. Can you give us a little advice on that?
Well, see, I love to fish lakes like Florida. I've always done good in Florida because it's shallow water grass. I just feel like that's one of my go-to deals. I am a big spinnerbait fisherman. If I catch them on a blade, I'll throw it all day long.
Right.
But I found out after a while, there's other ways you got to catch them. Sometimes you got to lay that thing down and catch them other ways, on a crank bait or a lipless bait or a worm or jig, top water. You got to know it all. I mean, you just can't depend on one bait and go out there and fish these times.
Right. No, you're definitely right on that one. Now, the next topic that I think we should hit on is the importance of lure awareness. Can you give